Now, Heights, the Australian market heading lower after a rollout of disappointing profit results. Which big names are dragging down the market?
Has Linda quite a few big names today. In particular, Rio Tinto and Westpac both under-delivered on profit. Rio shares are tumbling today after the miners' first-half profit slumped 65%. A bigger dive than analysts had expected. Chief Executive Tom Albanese says the company will turn around. Asset sales are continuing and demand for resources is improving.
We're going to keep our focus on cost reduction. We're going to keep our focus on getting our businesses as lean and as strong as possible. We would expect, as we look ahead, the economies are going to improve. We're going to see ultimately the U.S. coming out of recession. That'll join with the current strong conditions we're seeing in China. And we will see a stronger demand picture, and we're going to be there for it.
Westpac shares are tumbling as well after its third-quarter cash earnings fell short of expectations. And surfwear label Billabong shares have been wiped out in today's trading session after full-year net income dropped to a little over 150 million Australian dollars. That was down 13%. We'll be speaking to Billabong's chief executive, Derek O'Neill, later in Asia Confidential. And shares of Insurance Australia Group down 6% after the nation's biggest insurer of cars and houses returned to an annual profit. However, its earnings missed analyst estimates. They were looking for a little bit more. Telstra shares are lower as well. We're down by a little over 2.5%. The Australian government selling a third of its stake in the company. The Future Fund wants to cut its losses. Some analysts say it's taking advantage of a relatively bullish market to offload its shares, selling about $2 billion worth of its shares, or the equivalent of a third of its stake, and that'll reduce the government's holding in the company from 16.5% to 11%. The government's selling out on concern about Telstra's plunging share price. Telstra shares are down a little over 7% this year, compared to a 17% gain for the benchmark index. Has Linda, back to you.
All right, Heidi Cooch, thank you so much for that. And just a reminder, the ASX 200 index in the red at the moment, currently down by about 0.5%.